Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to be making a little bit of a controversial topic. Today I'm going to be talking about Elder Scrolls Online versus World of Warcraft. Now, firstly, I want to get out of the way the facts that I know WoW is about 10 years old now, and I know that it's outdated, but I still think that it's probably the best MMO ever, and I think it's a great game to compare to new MMOs coming out because it really set the benchmark for what is a good MMO. So yeah, I'm just going to mention I'm still a WoW fan, I still love the game, and obviously the Elder Scrolls Online hasn't come out yet, but I think I really want to talk about it just to sort of compare some things and contrast some things that I think, some reasons why I think Elder Scrolls Online is going to be really amazing. So yeah, I've played about 3 years, probably give or take, on World of Warcraft. Not obviously in playtime, that'd be ridiculous, but 3 years I've played, and I had a few pretty high level characters, so I know a lot about the game. So let's get straight into it with combat. So my biggest issue with WoW, coming back to it nowadays, is the combat. That's probably the thing that just makes it feel so stale and so outdated. The fact that you just sit there, standing still, just, hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, not even moving, the enemy just goes down, and it doesn't even feel that fun anymore. Back in the day, sure, it was a really fun, sort of different thing that we hadn't seen before, but now it's just really outdated, and in the Elder Scrolls Online, they're adding a completely different way of, going about combat. So, we did see this firstly in games like Guild Wars 2 and a few other MMOs, and obviously in Skyrim itself it was a lot like this, but they've added real-time combat into an MMO, and for me that's really exciting straight up, because I'm sick of games where you just sit there doing your spells and all that stuff. I just find that boring. I want to be moving around, dodging. Actually, I need skill to kill a monster or whatever. I think that's a lot funner than just having to, go through your little cycle, and it's just not that fun for me. They're also making it so that there's a lot less of a HUD, which is basically heads-up display. Sorry, I stuttered there a little bit, but it just means that the game is going to feel a lot more sort of immersive, and it's just going to be a lot less catered towards those crappy players that just have good armor and they can just cast their spells. You'll actually have to move around, dodge, block, and all that sort of stuff, so I'm really excited for that. Once again, I realise that WoW is really old, but I just wanted to compare that to WoW because I think this is going to make a big difference when the game comes out. We'll really notice this, and this is going to really revolutionise MMOs. So the next thing, guys, is quests. Now, there hasn't been much information on quests, and there hasn't been too much information released from ZeniMax, but what I can tell you is that quests are not going to be linear like they are in WoW. In WoW, it's sort of like you get a quest from an NPC, he tells you to kill 5 rabbits or whatever, you kill 5 rabbits and you hand it in. Well, in Elder Scrolls Online, and we saw this in Guild Wars 2 again, but Guild Wars 2 didn't do it quite as well as they could have. With quests, you can just go and go to where a quest is, and then you might see a different sort of path going down somewhere else where a town might be getting attacked or something, and if you go there, the town will, you'll have high reputation with that town. When you come back there, they'll sort of praise you and stuff like that. So, quests really lead you into different paths, and you can choose as a player what you want to do. And in WoW, it was a lot, really linear in the way that you just go get a quest, you'd complete it, then go back and hand it in. With Elder Scrolls Online, they've really made that idea and turned it into something a lot less exploring and a lot less interesting. Which leads me to our next thing, which is leveling up and actually exploring. World of Warcraft, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, doesn't at all reward players for exploring. You can basically play throughout the whole game up to level 85 or whatever it is these days and just explore the areas you need to. You don't actually need to go any other distance, whereas in the Elder Scrolls Online you can really explore different locations and you'll get a lot out of it, and there are a lot of locations, guys. All the places from the previous Elder Scrolls game are in this game, plus more. So it's going to be a massive world and a lot of places to explore, and I love exploring in MMOs. That's, for me, half of the fun about it, just that sort of sandbox feeling. And, yeah, back to leveling. The leveling cap is only 50, which might sound like not much to other people, but I don't want to be grinding for levels. In the Elder Scrolls Online, it's not a grind, you can discover heaps of different areas, go to heaps of different places, and leveling up is actually a pleasure, unlike in WoW, where it just kind of becomes a bit of a grind. Alright, so moving on to the actual storyline. Now, this isn't something you can compare because every game has its own little storyline, but in the Elder Scrolls Online, there is going to be an awesome storyline because it's going to take, from what was Skyrim, I think this is even set before Skyrim or just after Skyrim, and really sort of develop it into an awesome epic storyline. It's going to take all the Elder Scrolls storylines and really create a really awesome, unique storyline into the Elder Scrolls Online. Whereas with World of Warcraft, you can easily play through the game without even paying attention to the story or even noticing that there was a storyline, because it's just sort of, you go to a location, a guy says, collect me whatever amounts of whatever, you do it, and you don't really think about what the story is. Now, another awesome thing about the Elder Scrolls Online is there are going to be 3 alliances, which mean that it's going to be, the PvP is going to be a lot different to what we've ever seen before in an MMO, because you'll actually be sort of fighting against 2 other enemies rather than 1 other enemy, so it's going to be a little bit less sort of, I suppose, linear than what we've normally been used to. And in addition to that, there's going to be 9 races. I won't go through all of them, but there are a lot of reoccurring ones, but a lot of ones that are really interesting and that I can't wait to play myself. And although WoW has a lot of races, I just think these races in Elder Scrolls Online, this is very biased, but I just think they're a lot cooler. And I mean, that's just an opinion, that's not fact or anything. Alright, now the next thing I really like about the Elder Scrolls Online compared to World of Warcraft is the fact that the classes actually have versatility. By this I mean mages can use a longbow if they wish. You know, in World of Warcraft, mages are basically set to one sort of playing role, which is sitting back, casting firebolt or whatever. Whereas in the Elder Scrolls Online, you can really mix it up. You know, you can use a staff and sit back if you want, and that's fine. But it's really however you want to play the game. If you want, you can go in with like a sword, like a 2-handed sword, and you can still be a mage and still be effective. So that's what WoW needed for me. That's what I'm really excited for in this game. Different dungeons and stuff like that. You'll be able to have different parties with different sort of playing roles, with people who like to, you know, even if you like to play as a healer, you can be like a sort of thief sort of player. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to go. Another thing, in addition to that, is the classes are a lot more balanced than in WoW, of what I've seen so far. I know that's a bit of a, you know, we can't really say that yet because the game hasn't even been released, but it just seems that way because if all of them can use different sort of weapons and stuff like that, it means that there's not going to be a single class that is has to do one role. Like there's, you know, if there's a priest, it's not going to have to heal. Whereas in WoW, the priest generally has to heal. You know, there's not too much versatility in what a class can do. So that's awesome about the Elder Scrolls Online. Now, in little things like the armor looking badass and the graphics, that's obvious things that, considering this game's coming out in 2013 and considering WoW came out in 2004, that's obvious, and that is something that you can't really compare. WoW's been amazing, don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I just think it's getting outdated, and the Elder Scrolls Online is here to they can be the game to bring in a new revolution of MMOs if they want to. Of course, they still haven't announced whether or not a monthly subscription is going to be in the game. I really hope there isn't. But in the same way, I don't mind paying monthly if they're going to be updating the game, making it better and better. Just one more thing I want to cover is the endgame content. I find when I play WoW these days, I just can't, because there's not enough content that I haven't played before that I'm just not sick of. Whereas in Elder Scrolls Online, you can do these massive, epic PvP sort of, you know, 100 versus 100 enemy games, and it just looks really crazy in that way, and you can do all these heroic raids and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think of the Elder Scrolls Online, of what you've heard about it so far, and yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys later.